Hello, my name is David Gregory. Welcome to my family kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to prepare a meal that will take you all around the country yet fit on a single plate. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. So, like I said, we're going to be making a ton of different dishes from all around the country. And our first dish is going to be our appetizer, and it's going to be potato skins. So let's get started on those. The first step is to take out 4 or 5 pretty good potatoes. Not very strict on that. But you have to wash them in hot water. Maybe use a sponge and just like scrub up all the grime on each potato. So that's the first step. So once you've washed all your potatoes, the next step is to take a knife and simply like put a little slit in the top of your potato. It's called venting the potato. So all of the steam and heat inside the potato has a place to escape in the oven so it won't pop. So after you've placed a nice sized slit in the potato, you can go ahead and place all 4 potatoes into the oven at about 375. And that'll take about an hour to cook all those. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, West Coast potato skins, how does that really relate? But in my life, when I went to my brother's wedding on the West Coast, we actually ate potato skins at one of the dinners that we ate there. And that was the very first time I had them. So whenever I think of potato skins, I think of the West Coast, and that's why our appetizer are potato skins today. Once the potatoes are finished cooking in the oven, you take them out and you carefully cut the potato in half, and then you flip it on its side and then cut it into its fourth. And you want to be really careful because if you're not careful, the knife can kind of ruin the potato skins, and that's obviously what we're trying to preserve for this recipe, or else the appetizer won't be as good. It'll still taste good, but it might not be as pleasant to look at. So, cut all those. So after all of these are cut into fourths, you take your spoon and you look at the inside of the potato, you slit it out, and kind of put the potato meat on the outside of the cutting board, and you really want to scrape out as much of that as you can without ruining the skin. Like, you don't want to pop your spoon through the skin, but you do want it to be nice and really, really close to the skin there. As you can see, this potato will be kind of dig your spoon in there, and then that's what it will look like when it's correct. So you do that to every single one. So after you've skinned them all, as you can see, I put them in a nice container here. And the best thing about potato skins is that you can actually save the potato meat, just smash it up, add some butter and sour cream, and you have mashed potatoes for the next meal that you want to have. So I'm just going to put those in the fridge for later. And then, okay, so the next step to making your potato skins is taking a oven tray, some bacon, some butter, and some cheese, of course. And you line the potato skins up on the tray. Sometimes you have to do 2 batches, but they take really quick to make, so that shouldn't be a problem. Let's see if I can get all these in one. Nope. So you line them all up on the tray, and then you take the butter and you put it in the microwave for about 25 seconds. Just enough so it melts, but not too much so it's like burnt and oily. So yeah, you leave that in there for about 2 seconds. The bacon, you can actually make your own fresh bacon and chop it up like this, or you can go to a store and they have bags of like pre-chopped bacon, which is really nice. and it's actually it's like they don't put much in it, so it's like straight up bacon. So it's really good for you and great to have on with potato skins. So after your butter is melted, take it out, kind of stir it a little bit with your spoon, and then first thing you do is you take one of these brushes and you brush all of the potato skins with a nice layer of butter. Make sure the skins are facing the bottom of the pan so that you can accurately put the ingredients where they're supposed to go. What I do next is I take the bacon and I kind of just sprinkle it all over the tray. Each individual potato skin will get a decent amount of bacon. Not too much that it's overwhelming when you eat it, but just enough so it tastes perfect. I'm sure it's not science. There's no perfect amount of bacon you can put in the skin, but good amount. Bacon's pretty good. And then once you've added the bacon, the final step is to put in the cheese. Now, I've made potato skins numerous times, and a mistake I've made before is adding way too much cheese. The cheese is good when it's like melted on there, but if there's a lot of cheese, it kind of just tastes like cheesy potato, and it's not exactly what you want in your potato skin. So sprinkle not too much cheese onto your potato skins. Probably this is about good. Just enough so that you can taste it, but not overwhelming. And then something I love to add to my potato skins is a spice called Old Bay seasoning, and it's really famous on the East Coast where I lived in Maryland. They use it to season their crabs, but it's also really good if you put it on potato skins. It gives them like a zesty, peppery, salty kind of flavor. Really good. It's just it's like a seasoning, just a bunch of different herbs and spices. So you season that pretty well. You don't have to use the Old Bay, it's just something I prefer. And then once you're finished with that, you put it in the oven and you put it on the broil setting on high, and you leave it in there for about 2 minutes, and then the cheese will get melted and the bacon will get really crispy and it'll taste really good. So the side dish I'll be showing you how to make today is grits, and obviously grits is a southern food. My mom, sister, and I actually went down to Nashville a couple of years ago, and you could not find a restaurant that did not serve grits. So the first step to making grits is you get about a half cup of grits, a tablespoon of butter, half a teaspoon of salt, and about 2 1/4 cup of water. You put the grits, butter, and salt all into a saucepan pot, and you set the pot on a good medium heat with the butter, the salt, and the grits all in there. And then you get a spoon and kind of stir them together. And once the butter is decently melted, you can then add the water. So I'm gonna add the water. So once you've added the water, you can stir everything together. And so as you can see, the pot has started to boil, and when it does, you grab a lid and you cover it so all the steam stays in and cooks the grits, and then you reduce the heat to about a 2 or a 3, a lower heat, so that it stays in there. And you keep that in there for about 40 minutes until the grits are nice and cooked. I'm going to be demonstrating how to make shrimp scampi, and this is because I used to live on the East Coast, and seafood on the East Coast is very popular, so I've definitely experienced in this area. So the very first step is you get a skillet and you just put some butter on the skillet. I have about two tablespoons of butter here. And then on a low heat, you kind of just sift the butter around until it gets nice and melted. I'm gonna grab a knife. And you want to make sure the butter is all over the pan so none of the shrimp sticks to it when you add the shrimp in the pan later. So after the butter is completely melted, you raise the heat on the stove to a higher setting, probably like medium to high, and then you take your shrimp on a plate. I seasoned it with a little bit of thyme, and I also put some salt and pepper on the shrimp. And then you put the shrimp on a plate and you flip it over right onto the saucepan like so. And kind of make sure each shrimp has their own spot touching the bottom of the pan. And you don't, after you've done that, you don't touch them for about a whole minute after you put them on the pan. So after about a minute of them simmering here, you add about 2 teaspoons of garlic, and you put that right in there. Kind of sift that around with the shrimp. And about a minute after the garlic has been added, we're gonna flip the shrimp to the other side. So I'll grab my spatula. It smells really good, the roasted garlic. It's one of my favorite smells. So after that, about a minute, we're gonna flip them. So now you leave them on this side for about 2 minutes, 2 more minutes on their own side. So a little bit about myself. I got into cooking when me and my brother binge watched a ton of cooking shows together, and then we would have little competitions in our kitchen, and we would see who could make the best meal, and then we'd give it to my parents and my brothers, and then they would taste test it and then tell us who the winner was. I actually have won more times than my brother, so that's always a positive. Okay, so once they've been cooking for about 2 more minutes on this side, you can toss them again and make sure that you see pink throughout the entire shrimp. Make sure they all look like a nice shade of pink, maybe a little bit of orange. And once you think they look good, you are ready to take them all and then scoop them into a different bowl, or in my case, it's this measuring cup. And it doesn't matter if the garlic gets in there, it'll all taste great when it's finished. So get all of the shrimp in the bowl. It should look about like this. It's a nice orange pink color. So then you place that on its to the side, and then you turn down the heat a little bit more on the stove to about medium low, and then you add 1/4 cup of white dry vermouth into the pan, and you also add a tablespoon of lemon juice. And this will try to stick to the bottom of the pan, so you want to make sure you keep it moving inside of the pan. And this only has to cook for about a minute. As you can see, it's very smoky. So once it's turned to a darker color, that means it's finished. So you take it over here, and this is when you can add the parsley leaves to the pan. It's about a tablespoon of parsley, fine chopped fresh parsley, really good. Add that to the sauce, kind of stir it all around, and then you just drizzle the sauce over the shrimp inside of the bowl, like so. And this is obviously about shrimp for 1 or 2. If you needed more, you could always make more. Turn off the stove, and then with that, you stir up the shrimp. Until it's all been in the juice and the sauce down there. And then it's nice and hot and ready to serve. So this meal, this plate, perfectly sums me up. We have the appetizer of potato skins, which reminds me of the West Coast, where me and my family took a big road trip and went to visit my brother for his wedding. We also have the Southern Grits, where I went to Nashville with my mother and my sister because of my strong passion for country music, where obviously it's very popular in Nashville. And we also have a little bit of the East Coast with the shrimp scampi, where I grew up, and that was where I lived out my childhood in Maryland, and seafood was everywhere. So this plate is definitely eclectic. You could never order it at a restaurant because of the various like just a really weird stuff to have on the same plate, but I'm a very eclectic person. I love different things, and so this is another reason why this plate just perfectly sums me up.